Hi, Resul here. Welcome back to our research series in human-centric robotics. In this series, we are exploring the uncharted, wild, steep lands of robotics, where robots are designed to work alongside humans, with humans, and for humans. This week is the second week of July 2025, and we are in the middle of winter season. But as you can see, it doesn't feel like winter in the southern hemisphere, especially in Sydney. Usually that's what we get. We have bright sky, clear weather, and lots of greenery. And in today's episode, I'll be walking along this cliff in Watson's Bay, and I will go to the gap at the edge of there, and we'll conclude the episode at that gap point. Yeah, this region is a central district in Sydney, and that's Opera House. And just next to the Opera House, that's a Harbour Bridge. And just next to the Harbour Bridge, there is an Opera House. So today's episode, I'll be talking about something different than our usual discussions. A couple of weeks ago, actually 2 weeks ago, we have a notification in our email box saying your article has been accepted. And that was the first time I managed to get my paper accepted to the IEEE Robotics and Automation letters. Improving trust estimation in human-robot collaboration using better reputation at fine-grained timescales. So in this episode today, I'll be explaining in detail, not much in technical depth, but and discuss about what was our findings, what is our contribution, and what was the real point of working on that research. And then in this video, we'll be walking along the cliff here, and we'll go to the gap in Watson's Bay. So let's go. So as I said, our latest article is published in a journal, and that article was focusing on how can we mathematically model human trust towards a robot. Basically, what we are saying is human trust is a metric of collaboration, meaning that if we can estimate, mathematically formulate human trust accurate enough, then we have an accurate measurement, accurate metric for collaboration. And collaboration is the key in human-centric robotics. Therefore, my first research as a PhD researcher was working on trying to find mathematical formula. And then by looking at the literature, I come across to the field, come across to the mathematical formulation of better reputation. Then I realized that, wait a second, there are some couple of researchers come across to using better reputation in their modeling of human trust. But what's missing was that when human interacts with the robot in their research, human gives the success and failure ratings after the task is finished. And the question was, how can we capture this change in real time before the interaction finishes? And then, as I said, performance was a great indicator of human trust. Then let's go with the performance and come across to update the mathematical formula for better reputation and make it fine-grained model of trust. We proposed a method of four-stage framework, and I'll explain the details about four-stage framework in a bit. Oh, look at there is a parrot here. Zoom. And while walking along the cliff here, I'll be explaining the details about our new framework. So the first stage of our framework was human demonstrations. Because as you can see, whoever is interested in robotics, who came across to the machine learning and teaching robots how to act, there is a specific field of learning from demonstrations. So human provides demonstrations in the first stage. In the second stage, as name suggests, we use this demonstration information and learn decision-making policy. Plus, as a novelty, we also learn the reward function, which we'll be using to formulate the performance function in a continuous manner. In a third stage, that's where the continuous improvement comes into place. Now, after the second stage, we have this decision-making policy and the reward function. That's been optimized using human demonstrations. Now, in the third stage, we'll have to incorporate this robot's learning with what human trust towards the robot is. Therefore, we adapted this better reputation to model the human trust and changed the dynamics of better reputation, made it more real-time applicable, made it more continuous, more fine-grained. And then we come up with a new formula for better reputation. And in that formula, we have certain parameters to find. For that, we use maximum likelihood estimation, which is an optimization that tries to find parameters given the target distribution. And the target was the human providing the ground truth label with survey about their trust. If human provides a high level of trust, the complete trust, it will be 100%. If human is saying, I don't have high trust, I don't trust this, I have complete distrust towards the robot, then that will be interpreted as a 0%. Okay, let me drink water here. Isn't this beautiful place though? It's quite peaceful to see the waves crashing to the rocks. It's continuous, dynamic, which is what you need for inspiration, for peacefulness, to be part of this continuum of dynamic flow. It makes you realize that what is real is actually the continuous, is this flux of dynamic movement. It's in a constant flux. And it's quite unpredictable as well. Like you can see those waves. And imagine trying to find an equation for that mathematically, how this wave behaves. It's chaotic, but there is also a repetition. Not that random. I wouldn't say it is random. It has some period which is unpredictable. But anyway, that's a third stage. And in the fourth stage, we will have to verify how well we are performing. Let me close this. Okay, let's go to the gap now. Okay, as you can see, our new framework has 4 stages. Demonstrate, optimize, robot learning stage of human trust, which is continuous, and 4th stage is the verification stage, where we have to verify how well we are performing. Oh, look at that. The Dunbar was wrecked. It's actually a real one. It's like it's wooden. Seems no, it's metal. Yeah. So yeah, so this four-stage framework comes along with this new contributional parts, and I will explain the contributions. Basically, the first contribution was about coming up with new mathematical formula for better reputation and making it a fine-grained better reputation. Previous literature was focusing on discrete and binary performance function. Now we made and used that binary performance function in the better reputation. But now we use better reputation again, but made it in a more fine-grained manner. Second contribution is actually we extracted, squeezed out the most important features, information from human demonstrations, because we believe that human demonstrations do not only capture the dynamics what robot has to do, it also captures through this dynamics it captures the information related to the task, how well the task is done. So we had this case study in the lab environment where there is a robot, collaborative robot, that picks up the tiles, and a human sitting there teaches the robot how to bring those tiles to the target location. The important part was how we can extract, squeeze out from demonstrations the performance function. And then by looking at that, we didn't want to go along with writing a reward function or to come up with the performance of a robot in a manual manner. Because I had an experience in reinforcement learning, which is the field which is quite difficult to have a reinforcement learning agent to do a good task with basic rewards. So you have to have a complex, task-oriented and expert requiring job of reward function construction. To remove that laborious work, we come across to the inverse reinforcement learning papers and work. We did some experiments after all fixing all of the optimized parameters in the lab of a tiling robot, and we've shown that our model is minimizing the burden, removing the physical burden of defining a reward function, but also is quite accurate in some sense compared to the binary based traditional better reputation formula. Okay, so finally, let's discuss about the limitations of our work. We obviously have limitations. It's not solving all of the problems, all the rest, but obviously every research will have a limitation, and we have one. Assumption that the Likert scale responses of about human trust from human will be accurate. And that's a survey, which means that it's a lag indicator. In psychology, there is a lot of research focusing on and explaining that surveys could be reliable, but also they tend to be not that reliable as well, especially when it comes to the dynamic, continuously changing features such as human trust. Then maybe it's not the best way to go along to find out the optimization parameters. But instead, we provided some examples of what we can do to improve it. One way is to focus on human behavior, which is mainly subconscious behavior. Main point I'm trying to make is leads are much more reliable than lag indicators such as surveys. So that was the first limitation. Look at this small lizard. Can you see that? Can you spot it? It's moving there. Obviously, you can ask a question of why does it matter to work on trust? We can maximize the robot's performance and obviously the human trust will increase. Well, partially yes, it's true. But what I would say is that robots will not act with 100% performance, with maximum capabilities. Robots will fail, and they tend to fail, especially when the AI integration, a lot of uncertainty, unreliability, and black boxness comes in, they will fail. That's one aspect. Second thing is performance increase does not always increase human trust. There are people who don't want to interact with the robot. There are people who don't want robot, and there are people who want robot, independent of the task, of the capabilities. Therefore, mathematically modeling the trust gives us an advantage and the control over how a robot should behave. That's where it comes that if we have a fine-grained estimation of human trust, then we can manipulate, we can manage human trust by changing the robot's decision-making policy. Now, if there is human trust that's lacking, if human is not trusting the robot, maybe robots should not do high-risk actions, even though high-risk actions could result in the highest performance outcome. So those kind of strategies could only be discussed and provided when we have a metric of trust so that we can use and relate this metric. You're loved. Therefore, one aspect is, let's say you come up with the trust that is, it's a helicopter, that's estimated in fine-grained manner, then robot in the future work, that's what we are planning to do in the next, robot can change its maximum reward reward obtaining decision-making policy and act to also increase human trust. And one aspect of human trust is, that's what we're really keen, is that when trust is not something that you want to maximize always. There is tons of research looking at how the catastrophic outcomes could be if human is over trusting the robot, which is again a problem. So both sides, over trust and under trust, is a problem which could be solved by making strategies and decisions for a robot to do. But for that we need an accurate estimation, mathematical model of trust. That's why it's quite important to consider the mathematical formulations of it. How green it is. It's beautiful. Therefore, it's important to have this mathematical estimation so that the problems could be solved early on and the robot could act in a human-centric manner. That's all from the video today, and thanks for watching this long video. It turns out to be quite long. I have to learn how to manage the time in the videos, but still, I quite enjoyed the process. And that's it from the video today. So thanks for watching. and I'll see you in the next video. And bye for now.